Warning: this program is intended for adults of legal drinking age. Whiskey is consumed and discussed. The intent is to educate our palates on the differences of whiskey flavors and not an intent to get drunk. Please drink responsibly.
Doing things with it.
He's going to rearrange us, yeah.
That's
We're
awesome.
live. We're live.
Oh,
Hey,
we're
everybody.
live.
Hey, everybody.
Hi.
Welcome back to the show. I fucking love whiskey. Yeah. Yeah. I'm Joseph Limbaugh. This is Andrew Pierce.
I also fucking love whiskey. And today
Yeah.
we got a very special guest. We have Mr. Alan Simpson, who is a musical improviser, musician extraordinaire, a wonderful guest. Hello.
Hello. Thanks for having me, you guys. This is exciting.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
If you look in the lower left right-hand corner of the screen right now, you can see the approximate times. We're going to get to the 4 whiskeys we're going to taste today. They're all above 60%. So, oh boy. And they're all SMWS. And so Joseph and I are always very excited when we have them on the show because there's often very, very good bottles in the mix. So
Now,
we like the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society.
I know what SMWS means, but for those watching who might not, maybe we explain to those people what SMWS stands for.
okay, it's the Scotch Malt Whiskey Society, and way back when, I can't remember when it was founded. I got the founder's book over here somewhere. But anyways, when they first started, it was basically 6 or 7 people that said, we should go buy a cask. And they went to a distillery, and the guy said, "Yeah, sure, I'll sell you a cask." And so the guy put it in the back of his car, and the trunk wouldn't close. It was just ridiculous that he took a barrel from the distillery. That was distillery number 1, which is a space side.
1983.
1983, is that what it was? Thank you, Google. I knew someone would come through.
That's interesting. The chat over here is showing new stuff, but the one over there isn't. Huh. Weird. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, technology. So anyway, so it's like a kind of a private whiskey society where you can sign up, and then they go to distilleries, they buy like a cask that they think is interesting. And so this stuff is kind of hard to get, actually.
You're very privileged to be involved.
Yeah, this is one of 229 bottles that they found from this cask, and they dubbed this one Worm Tub Stodge.
Worm Tub Stodge. And Worm Tub, that's something that I've learned from being on the show. It is something that they use in the making of whiskey. It is a accoutrement, a tool, as it were. What is the Worm Tub?
It's more than an accoutrement. It is it is a cooling thing. So at the top of the kettle, top of the distillation, the line arm goes out, and outside it will go down into what they call a worm tub, because it was a long round kind of copper tube that went inside of a big wooden tub of water. And so it would cool the distillate that has now been heated and boiled off from the kettle back into liquid, which becomes the new make spirit that they put into a cask, age, and it becomes whiskey.
So it's kind of like the last step before they put it into the cask, right?
Pretty close, yeah.
Wasn't he also the duplicitous right-hand man of King Theoden?
Yeah, that was Worm Tub. Yeah. He got stabbed.
Let's not delay any longer. Let's try this. This is a Balmenach SMWS 48.120. You got the information down there.
And where's Balmenach located?
In Scotland.
Now, I noticed in comparing them to the others, this one is a little, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess fainter in color. It's
paler.
It's sort of blonde. It's a little more blonde.
Yep. So the type of cask it's aged in will have an effect on that. I think most of these are all barrels. No, Oloroso on the Craigellachie. And I don't have the information on the others.
I think Balmenach is space side, according to my map.
Space side?
Yeah.
There we go. Outside in is helping us out too.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Yeah, this is very light for a 60%. Like this is the nose is a bit shy for me. Like I'm not.
I was expecting it to overwhelm me and make me, but it's build up. It's really
some
nice.
of them do that. This one, it's very gentle. The nose is very gentle.
Are there any noses that you have to actually, because I know, like I cut my finger on a sharp thing the other day and actually literally put some alcohol on my finger and then smelled it too much on the cotton swab. And then I went online to read, you don't do that. That's actually bad for you to smell, 70% alcohol out of a plastic container.
It's bad for you?
What? No, it's good. It's good for me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think this is a different thing, right?
Yeah,
It is
maybe a
different
type
than
of alcohol.
it is different than rubbing alcohol or
Yeah.
medicinal alcohol. Sure,
Just a little bit.
it's a bit different.
I get like a pine forest just after it's rained, maybe. Like
Yeah. Did you already taste it?
Oh, Alan's gone in, I think.
We haven't tasted it yet, Alan.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I jumped ahead.
Oh no, you go ahead.
It is it's got a kick. I am inexperienced, and that has got a nice kick.
Wow.
Kristen Moore says hello to Alan.
Hey, Kristen, how you doing?
Yeah.
When was the last time she and I were in the same room with each other? That's crazy.
Probably my wedding.
Wow, that's right. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
When we were all in purple.
Yes.
I had a cape.
Yeah, I get I could get that, or the edge of a forest near like an open field, but it's definitely just rained, I think. But this has kind of a very gentle kind of Oregon sort of smell. I think a bit of like fresh cut lumber, like freshly.
I totally get. Yeah, I get lumber. I get like that. Not like wood chips. Oh, bad woods, but like a really pleasant log cabin wood kind of.
Maybe sawdust.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna taste this sucker.
You know what? This is gonna sound like I'm trying to sound poetic, but you know what it tastes like? It tastes like coming in out of the cold and sitting by the fire. Like this tastes like what I would long to have when I'm cold and wish I were warm.
You were right about that, Alan. Like we drink a lot of whiskey that has a heat to it. Like I feel like I just took a sip of that fire. Like you know what I mean? The fire itself, like it's got a burn to it.
Yeah, someone gave you the hot cocoa right off the stove, and you go.
It's like it's like if you start over here with like something that's too cold, and over here it's too hot. It works right up to the line between them. And it's the perfect amount of heat.
I do think it's partially because we're starting at 60%. I think that's partially why, because we don't normally do that. That's pretty we do have a warm up before this, but that's like at 40%. So this is that's quite a bit of a jump.
It's a big jump. But again, we have had 60% alcohol whiskeys on the show that just do not present as this kind of heat.
But we don't seldom start with one, I don't think.
No,
right?
we don't.
I'll say this, that 40%.
We don't often start with one. Sorry.
We don't oft.
That 40% that we warmed up with didn't change my posture. And this one caused me to back up, and like my neck did a thing. Yeah. Oh, great, though. Wow. Okay, so help me out since I'm inexperienced.
Ooh.
I'm going to go to a bar and I want to describe this without remembering its name to a bartender. So he can say, oh, you want something like this. So is this, what are the qualities of this that are the reason I like this?
I mean, that's tricky because it's a space side, and the thing is with SMWS is they choose casks that are unusual. So like Balmenach might not normally taste like this, this is because they probably blend. And I don't even know that I've ever had a Balmenach before, honestly.
I think I've had one direct from the distillery. No.
Yeah.
So you might ask for a space side because this has got characteristics of space side with the grass.
You're saying space side.
Space side, yes. So the Spey River is a main tributary in the north part of Scotland.
If you look at this map of Scotland, this is. You
have to move your camera up a bit. I think you're zoomed in.
Can you not see it?
Really? If you look at this map of Scotland over here. No, it's off camera too.
If you look at this mirror.
Oh, I see. It's the secondary zoom in.
Darth Vader says.
Yeah. Okay. But anyways, it's a main tributary. A lot of fresh water comes. A lot of tributaries come into it, and the scotches the names of, like Glenfiddich, Glenlivet, are Glen means a valley, and at the bottom of a valley you will find a little creek or a river, and that's generally the water source that they would make the whiskey out of. So,
the most of the northern of Scotland is the Highlands, and then in the middle of the Highlands there's this river, and that's kind of where Speyside is.
Yeah, right? All the distilleries kind of crowded around it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, this is.
I really like it.
Yeah,
it does. It is like I feel like I'm drinking a freshly cut down pine that is like the cords have just been lit on fire, and I'm drinking that bonfire. Like that's like that, or that campfire. That's what I'm sipping when I sip this. Is what it. It is the taste of a bond, although not. And I'm saying, I guess it's like the freshly cut because it's not like super smoky. It's just that the fire itself, you know, there's not smoke in this. There's no smoke.
Tastes like burning. It's like there's definitely a there's heat. It's not merely wood. Like there's definitely there's something burning that's but very pleasantly burning. I've noticed now that it's getting cold, the weather's getting colder, as I go for walks around the neighborhood and I start to smell that people are, burning logs in their fireplace. It's that sort of like, oh, it's changing from autumn to winter smell,
Yep. Do you guys get like a cooked fruit in the finish?
A bit, yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's got that, yeah, it's got that nice sweet finish in the end, and it's not like it's long. It feels contained. You know what? It's so contained. It might be time for some science here.
Yeah, I think I'm really interested to see what science does to this guy.
Now, is this enough left in here? Should I pour some more to do the science?
You might put a little more in there, but you could try it just like that and see. I don't want to hurt you. This is a.
Oh, I'm gonna be fine.
Oh! What's coming out my nose?
Well, this feels more organic to me. Like I'm more in the forest. There's more plants.
Yeah, there's a lot more foliage.
Like it's not like fruit at all. It's like plants, like greenery, ferns.
Okay, so what am I doing? I'm just doing 1 drop of water, right?
Yep. Yeah, because we don't have a large amount in our glasses, so we don't want to overpower it.
And you can't take it out,
There's something funky in the nose now too. Like,
yeah, I like it. It's like a weird kind of slight rotting organic smell. I just feel like this is more foresty to me, like that
mushrooms.
That undergrowth of forest.
This is gonna. It's so weird because I'm not used to talking about these things in these terms, so I feel like I'm trying to sound like I want people to think I'm a poet when I'm not. But if before, whatever the nose was before, the forest where we were just now, it feels like it's just rained. Now that we've added a drop of water to it.
You know what? A lot of that fire in the bite, in the taste is gone for me, or my mouth has become numb.
No, where I get the burn too? I'm getting the burn in the roof of my mouth.
Huh.
More even than on my tongue.
I'm getting it like in the very back of my throat.
Yeah, same here. There too.
But there's more flavor along with the burn. I think initially, like the very first part of the sip, the burn was less, but at the end, still a lot of heat.
I noticed I was getting a burn on my lips, and then on my tongue and my cheeks, on the back of my throat, the top of my throat, down my throat, into my stomach, all the way down my esophagus. My lungs are burning. My hands are itching. I feel like I'm sweating through my clothing now. My left arm's tingling.
No, that's a different thing. We could hold someone. That's
You want to know a secret? What? No, I'm just kidding.
I really thought he was going to say, I fucking love whiskey. That's what I thought he was going to say.
I was hoping.
Like he set us up.
There are people out there who knows.
I want to know what Thad thinks. That's what I want to know.
Yeah, anybody, what's going on in the chat?
Well, Thad is here with us. He's our,
Yeah, so on the nose, what I was getting, this is all without water. I'm not a fan of it with water. Like, I wouldn't say don't add it. I just think it's better without. But like, the nose for me was really sweet and floral, like kind of like rose petal candies was what was mainly coming out to me. And then for the taste, it was a lot of orange, like for some reason. And then
I can see that.
And then
when you said from your add a drop of water, I want to make sure you mean literally like just one like an eye drop, not like a dropper, a drop. Okay.
You drop.
And then for the finish, like there was like savory fires, like something like London broil or pot roast, and then like at the very very end, like if you were nibbling on some leaves, like fresh green leaves.
I like
kind
that.
of freshly broken.
There's something earthy in there too. Like but pleasant. Like I mean, if I were to say it tastes like dirt, that's not what I mean. But it's there's something earthy.
Yeah.
It's going towards that. Yeah. And by the way, Alan, we love the poetry in descriptions. Like if you don't bring up a flavor at all and can describe what's happening with this whiskey, that's our favorite thing.
It reminds me of days gone by in my youth, misspent in the pool halls of an ancient.
But don't do an accent.
I remember back when I.
Okay. That's not an accent. It's just a goofy voice. Oh, we never read the. Oh, I've had this one before.
Oh, do you want to?
We're moving on.
Is there a short version? Maybe we should just read from the bottle since
I'll just read from the bottle.
Since we're doing 4 SMWSs. I feel
okay, tasting notes here on the worm tub. Playful, fun, fresh, and full of bright flavors. Lots of malty sweetness, orchard fruits, and a big hearty chewiness. I would agree with most of those notes.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Chewiness. Is that a describer used frequently? That's an interesting way to describe it.
It can be. I think, if something has a lot of oil to it that kind of coats your mouth, it makes it feel like you can really bite into it, sort of thing.
Now, should we palate cleanse between? What should I do?
No, this will, don't do all your tasting notes on the first sip.
Okay.
Okay, this is Spice the Mainbrace, 44.119. Also stating.
Is this a sherry cask?
This is the sherry cask. This is the Oloroso first fill.
Am I wrong that this seems like the darkest of the bunch?
It probably is.
That's why I was saying it was probably a sherry cask, because you can tell, like, sometimes if it's.
Oh, wow.
This is from the Craigellachie Distillery in Speyside.
Something different. There's definitely something different going on in this one.
Yeah, there is. Oh wow. It's funny. The first initial sniff that I took was like, remember when you were a kid? You're gonna remember this because you're both old, probably. But there was like this toy that was basically this like psychedelic goo in a tube, and you put it on the end of a straw, and you would blow up these. Like,
yes, I know, and it was toxic. Yeah,
yeah. So the first,
what was that called?
Balloonies, really?
Balloonies?
I never knew what it was called, but the first like smell kind of reminds me.
It seemed like it was supposed to be Play-Doh, but there was something really disturbingly like chemical wrong about it.
Well, you would blow up these bubbles, and then they were kind of like permanent, but then they would like, it was weird. It was a weird toy for kids.
You know what? Is there something in this that would be the reason when the first time I took a whiff of it? This is going to sound like I'm making this up. It smells like high school theater.
No, I could see that. Yeah, I could see that. Like, because there's fresh paint, there's like sweat, there's like a little bit of, a little bit of perfume,
rubber for the prostheses,
a little bit of teenage panic.
Yeah, makeup, a little bit of
teenage
old makeup.
Panic. Yeah, I get the teenage panic in here.
If I ever have my own whiskey, that'll be my label, teenage panic.
Oh man.
There's something a little more floral about it too. Like I feel like I haven't tasted it yet, but it feels like it's going to finish a little more bourbony than the first one did.
I don't go to bourbon here, but this is my favorite whiskey.
Is this your first time drinking it, or you've had this from before?
This is my first time drinking it. All but one of these were freshly opened just to share with you guys. So I've not had them before.
Then how have I had this before? Maybe I've just seen it at your house. Have we not had this on the show?
Oh, I think, yeah, sorry. This is the one that must have been open because, yeah, it's pretty low.
Okay.
So, so this is the one that's been open. Sorry.
So this one has been open because I feel like we've had this actually on this. I think the first time we've had this on, I think it's been on the show before, but I'm not 100%.
I could go and look at that, but I don't care.
I was so wrong about high school theater because this tastes really grown up.
Yeah. If this was a house, to me, it would be like an old kind of ramshackle cabin, with like not like a log cabin, but with like wood slats. It's kind of like literally like very dry wood, and it's it's overgrown a bit, but at the same time, in the inside, it's very, very well appointed with like a nice chair and like a fire in the fireplace.
I feel like now that I've had a sip of it, the nose has changed for me. Like I feel like this tastes like success.
So not high school theater.
No, well, I've had pretty good high school theater experience.
This is the wooden spoon that my mom would always make the brown bread with, and it would have lots of molasses just soaked into the wood. And now I'm just taking a bite of that spoon.
This tastes like backstage after winning your third Oscar is what this tastes like.
Yeah, this could also be like on the top of like a gigantic like office tower, the office at the top that's like one entire floor that's like a big fancy office, and you're like looking out over the city. you know, smelling this.
I remember,
right?
I was on a gig in Vegas years ago, and I learned that with certain liquors, I have expensive tastes. There were certain things that I thought I didn't like, and then I was able to have, because somebody else was paying the bar tab for part of the gig, which was pretty awesome. And I was able to sample some very expensive things, and I learned, oh, when it's like, this tastes like it's worth it. There's some things that are expensive, and you think that's not worth that price tag. This is magnificent.
And again, because I don't tend to go crazy with SMWS, it's probably around $100 a bottle.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not insanely expensive when it comes.
Yeah, for Scotch, that's like, you know, if you like, I think between $50 and $100 is like the sweet spot for Scotch. I think, you know.
I'm also, I think I've told you before. I don't know if I've told you, Andrew. I know Joseph knows. I'm also a big tequila guy, and I pretty much just like all tequila. I like cheap tequila, although the cheap stuff you make mixed drinks out of. The really nice, expensive stuff you sip, and I feel like this is the kind of thing where it's like I don't even know if I want to try the science. I want to put some water in it, but this is just. Oh.
Yeah, it is one of those ones where it's like I don't know that I want to science it.
I don't. Yeah.
I'm really, that second sip, I'm really getting the sherry. Like I'm really getting those rich, you know, tastes, and the sweetness. And
now, just to educate me in terms of my vocabulary. This is not peaty.
No. No, you're going to notice peat on the next two.
Okay.
It'll be pretty obvious what that flavor and smell is.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Thad, what do you think?
I'm really liking this one. It's really, really good. For me, on the nose, like right off the bat, I got that scent of like the ramen bouillon packets that you get in like instant ramen. Like for some reason, it's super woody for me, and I also got acetone, it's not really fully acetone, but turpentine. If y'all have ever worked with turpentine,
it's giving me the high school theater smell. Like it tastes like something's been done to a set or to makeup or to the walls or something.
Yeah. I guess one of us should science this. I'm going to take one more sip first.
I'm going to take one more sip too.
Wouldn't you say the 60 proof is probably a big contributing factor to why I'm feeling like it has something to do with a paint, you know?
Probably, yeah. I think we definitely tend to get those notes on the ones that are higher proof. Bing. Now I know it's called Spice the Mainbrace. I wonder if this is they're saying it has the smell of like the sea or something in there. You know what I mean?
But I don't get that. No,
I mean, I think with after the drip drop, I think I can get a bit of like sea salt in there.
This is Halloween. I'm wearing my grandfather's old rubber mask, and I can smell the sweat and the rubber and the mask.
His grandfather. And his like, wait a minute, your grandfather you inherited a rubber mask from your grandfather? Like that's
you didn't?
It wasn't of my grandfather.
I inherited a rubber mask of my grandfather.
Since I look a lot like him, it was almost like wearing just old me. Like I look now.
You know what's interesting? It's like, and maybe this is just standard once I've gotten used to it, and once my palate has started to become affected by several tastings, but when I first nosed is a verb now. I should say nosed. When I first nosed,
sure.
When I first nosed this one, there was something, like I said, backstage high school theater. It felt very, very. There was something feminine about it when I first smelled it. There was something floral also, but I feel like that's gone now, especially after adding the water to it. It's got a very stereotypically masculine feel to it now.
I would say men can also be floral. Like. You know.
Oh, that's true. I get that. That's why I said stereotypically. I guess in terms of cliches, there's something that feels very well. Actually, maybe don't even gender it. There's something that feels very strong and very sturdy and very
Yeah.
Like I'm picturing like an old timey boxer who used to box like this, wearing a onesie with the straps. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah.
Like when you said granddad, that's what it made me think of. Like my granddad with the crew cut, and he goes to the barber shop to get his hair cut.
I'm gonna taste it.
Oh my, that's just.
Oh,
I feel like it's a bit softer, and the flavors are a bit more accessible with the water.
Yeah,
I get it a lot hot in the finishing end.
it seems. Is it? Could it be? Could it be there? Could there be more heat in the finish after adding water?
Yeah,
it seemed like it would be though.
It
absolutely.
We've had all sorts of things happen adding water.
Yeah,
this is my new favorite whiskey for sure. This is. I mean, I told you I'm a big Lefroy guy, but this is. I think Andrew, you and I are gonna be getting together to kill a few bottles of these in the future. Great.
Impossible, sir.
Good luck to you with that.
Well, I think you're going to find some more favorite whiskeys ahead. I know that,
Oh, yeah.
I also am a big Lefroy fan, and that's kind of what started me on the whiskey journey was Lefroy. So,
yeah.
And anything whiskey is like,
I did actually have, when I was pouring the sample bottles for you guys, I did have a little bit of this next one, and I'm going to pre-announce it's my favorite whiskey.
All right.
I'm noticing a theme. I feel like does this favorite equal current?
We do this every time. Yeah. There's something else we do every time too, which is I fucking love whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking love whiskey. Hey guys, I love you guys.
Fucking love you, Alan Simpson.
What do the bottle notes say?
What do they say? They say aromas of coffee on a galleon led to notes of nutmeg, licorice, cinnamon with sticky figs and prunes. I'm going to have to disagree with almost all of that.
Yeah, I didn't get any of that. I didn't get coffee. I didn't get
Any coffee.
I figs, I could see that. Yeah. Figs and prunes, especially figs, I think. Yeah. Especially in the taste. Like it's that,
It's the echo of the sherry.
Yeah.
I definitely would have picked up on licorice because I tend not to like that family of flavors, licorice, anise, those kinds of things. I think I don't think I would be saying that's my favorite if I were picking up on any of that.
So you wouldn't be on a show that would be like, I fucking love absinthe.
Right. I fucking love blackjack gum. It's not my show.
Not my show.
The spinoff show. I fucking love candy corn. Like,
right.
But Alan, I would also say like there's a number of flavors that we've had on the show and in whiskey, just in life, where it's kind of like, oh, this tastes like Band-Aids, but you have to go, but in a good way. It's like not something I would normally eat, but you know what?
Well, it's like when you said it was like dirt, but in it like a delicious dirt.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I could say that like there's certain salad dressings that I love where it's very vinegary. But like if this were like I fucking like vinegar and I was like, well, let's taste this vinegar. I'd be like, this one's gross also.
I don't like this as well.
Now, vinegar, I think, is something else. Have you ever had like really high-end expensive vinegars? You know what I mean? That are like
I'll have to say I've never once in my life sampled vinegar. No.
Well, you should go to like a fancy vinegar shop and try some I'm serious. Like they're expensive as like a bottle of like a real good vinegar is as expensive as like a bottle of scotch.
I bet it is. And of course, there's such a wide range of what vinegars can be, to apple cider versus white versus all those.
Yeah. Right. Or, just wine turning into vinegar. If it's a good bottle of wine that turned to vinegar, maybe that taste is carried along, just not the alcohol.
There's certain smells and certain tastes. Vinegar is this way for me. Licorice is this way for me, where it hits me as if something has gone wrong.
Yeah.
And it just makes my brain and my stomach unify and nope, no.
Yeah, Outside In Theater says same with a good oil shop. Yeah, they also have shops where it's like vinegar and oil, like where you can get like because olive oil, for example, like the olive oil that you normally get at the supermarket that's not olive oil.
I've been to an olive oil tasting where there was like all these different infusions. Oh my God, it was amazing.
All right, what's up next here?
You know what's up next? My favorite whiskey alert. Oh man, this is from
Members Remember Embers.
Members Remember Embers. This is a Campbelltown distillery that isn't Springbank. It's the other one.
This one smells different than the other ones.
Does it? Does it smell perhaps peaty?
It has a very it definitely feels like a relative of the Lefroy I like.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Oh my.
Oh my God. This is my favorite whiskey.
That's my favorite whiskey. Like the next one coming up is called Railway Track to a Log Cabin. You know what? I get the treacle of a railway first thing in the nose here.
Yeah, this is like those railroad ties that are like all oily, they're oiled down. Absolutely, that smell.
That's the first note.
Oh wow, yeah, it's like a lumber yard or like
The
anywhere where the industrial stuff is going on, like old school and like you're in a cowboy industrial place. You know what I mean? Like
this tastes like aliens come down from another planet and they say, we've heard of this thing called whiskey. What is whiskey? And we say, well, it's this. Yeah.
Interesting.
Kill you and send you back where you came from. Oh.
Yeah, this is like Scottish cowboys. For some reason, this makes me think of like, here's your darn whiskey now. Come on into the rail yard. We're gonna get ourselves some whiskers.
I'm getting leather coming out now a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The cowboys, chaps, cows, they're like, it's all leather, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, but I do see like when I had that first scent, the members remember embers, or members embers remember the senders, or whatever it's called.
Members remember embers.
I remember having my member in September.
No.
But it's like that smoky campfire, like just the smell of like, this is like the first one was like the fire. This is like the smoke that comes off the fire and no fire. Yeah.
There's definitely a very pleasant smokiness to this one. This is sort of the Scotch whiskey equivalent of
Uh-oh.
No, what's it called? Incense. I couldn't think of the word incense.
Andrew thought that you actually froze for a second. You were so
really,
still.
because you were like,
yeah, no, but the truth is,
just the whiskey in the glass gave you away.
Yeah, but you know how incense, you don't see a flame. It's only about the smoke from incense, and this feels like this is the smoke from a this is the smoke from the previous fire.
Should we go in?
It does like an incense that's made from like wood, like cedar or pine incense.
Mm-hmm. Oh my.
What?
Oh my goodness.
Folks at home, I wish you could taste along with us.
Yeah. Wow.
This is stellar. Like,
yeah.
This reminds me of like, some of the whiskeys that I've mentioned on the show that I'm just like, oh, I love that whiskey. Like, this is so good. It's like, like a Port Charlotte. Like a really, really good Port Charlotte, like not the standard, but like, maybe
you know how there's certain restaurants you go to and you're sure everything they make must be amazing, but there's kind of the one thing that's the reason you go back, and you kind of only ever order that one thing. Like, this feels like I feel disloyal to the other characters on MASH whenever I say this character on MASH was my favorite, or that character was on MASH, but this is the Hawkeye.
Yeah.
This is like, it would be
that's a great description. Yeah. Yeah, what was I gonna say? The other thing, like this reminds me of, like I know Cherry Bang Bang was another like SMWS that I really liked, and I know like the lemon one. But like this is like in the lemon one though is just memorable. Like Cherry Bang Bang I really liked, but this is like another one where I'm just like, this is so good.
This is members remember. Oh, here's my double glasses I told you guys about.
There you go. Yep.
What's up with the double glasses?
What's happening?
And my eyesight has gotten worse, and I haven't gone back to the doctor yet. So Glen Scotia. So in terms of, educate me on, because there's so many Glens. What does it mean when I hear that a whiskey is a Glen this or
something?
A Glen that?
It's generally Glen is a river valley or a valley, and the river inside of it is generally the thing the Glen is named after. So Glenfiddich is on the river
Fiddick,
and Glen Scotia is on the river
Scotia.
Close. That was close.
He can be taught. Oh man, yeah, I just want to sit in this nose. And also, like, I'm already like, I don't want to science this. I don't know what that's going to do.
I don't want to science this. And when you go around Scotland, you realize that a lot of the distilleries are just named after where they are. It's like, oh, the distillery in the corner of the field, Auchentoshan. Oh, really? Corner of the field. Wow.
When somebody asks for and this is going to show my ignorance in terms of how to order a drink. When somebody asks for a blank and water, they're not just getting a drop of water though. What they're getting, like, is it usually like half and half?
Those people are monsters.
They're horrible people. They should never order that. You can order water on the side, but then you're the one doing the science.
Yeah, unless you're ordering bourbon, then it's fine to put water in that stuff.
Put ice in bourbon.
Yeah.
One of the things that I like to do occasionally with Lefroy is I don't mix. I will drink my Lefroy, and then occasionally in between, a little bit of soda water as a palate cleanser, and it creates this effect of each new sip of the whiskey has the first sip experience, which is pretty awesome.
I like that.
Yeah,
It's kind of cool.
Never heard of anyone doing that.
I'll have to wait a minute. I feel like Andrew's lying. I don't know why.
I would want to do it with soda though. Like I've never. Some people also will chase, right? Or you'll have like beer in between, and like I feel like the flavor is gonna. Although that might be an interesting experiment too. Like
this is La Croix fizzy water. It's not.
But it's lime.
But if
it was also empty.
But if you had a beer, or if you had something like a Guinness or something with a real aggressive flavor, it would probably affect what the whiskey tastes like also.
Yeah, that's why I think like if you're having a whiskey tasting, you want like it's okay to have food, but you don't want any like really like flavorful or pungent foods, you know, like a mild cheese and like some crackers, you know what I mean? And I do really like, you know, it's nice to take a sip of whiskey and then like have like a couple peanuts or a little bit of just a cracker. Like it really like the flavors like then it like I don't know can like they complement each other, they synergize. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but you know.
Yeah, this definitely feels like I want like a really nice sharp cheese on a cheddar. I mean, on a cracker. Or
I want a sharp cheese on a cheddar, on a provolone, and on top of a mozzarella.
I would love a cheese inside, some cheese for the cracker cheese. I think I would love if I could just stick my head inside some cheese, sir.
This finish goes on forever.
Yeah,
it goes on forever.
Should we throw it to Thad? I want to know what Thad has to say about this.
Yeah.
All right. So this one's super interesting. I totally agree with y'all with the nose about about workshop, lumberyard, old timey. For me, like this nose brings me back. It's very nostalgic for me. Like it brings me back to an old farm that me and my family used to go apple picking and pumpkin picking with. And it was called Nivens, but it reminds me of the smell that I would smell when you'd go pet the animals there. And whatnot.
I love that. I love it when it evokes a specific memory. I think my favorite thing about this show, when someone was like, it's the medicine that my grandfather rubbed on his legs or whatever. Like that to me is like my favorite part.
And then for like the taste, like it's a fantastic balance of heat, peat to heat. Andrew, do you have any that you're willing to sell at this point? Don't. Some anise infused apples, and then on the finish, I got like leather grapes and like a hint of seawater that has seaweed floating around in it.
Oh yeah.
Thad, I will give you another sample bottle if you want.
So now, where you said these are so hard to come by, where would the average Muggle?
So I mean, you can go to smwsusa.com, I think it is, or just Google SMWS. And you can become a member. I think they have specials on. Sometimes it's $50, sometimes it's $70, sometimes it's $100, but you become a member. And then you get the opportunity to purchase these bottles for that membership.
Yeah. And so the bottles like they're releasing now, it's like you might know what distillery they come from, but you won't know what they taste like until you get them is the thing. Kind of is a little bit of a gamble involved. Right?
So they do on YouTube, just like we're doing, they do on YouTube a little preview tasting. So the day before they're going to do the release of the next outturn, they will sample like 5 or 6 of the bottles online. So you can see the experts from SMWS tasting them and you kind of go, oh, do they like that one? Oh, these are the notes they're getting from it. Okay, that's my taste profile. I really want that. And then you have to buy it and hope hope you get it, because sometimes it's such a popular distillery that it just sells out instantly. Like they had a Macallan, they had to raffle it off because everyone's going for it.
Is this a community sort of similar to film and the entertainment industry where like there might be a reviewer who you trust because your tastes aligned aesthetically.
Yeah. And
so you wind up, if they like the movie, you'll probably like the movie. Like, are there people you follow who are like, oh, if he likes it, I bet I'm going to like it. Like, that's interesting. Are there people out there who could make or break a whiskey, because of what they said?
I mean, I doubt it.
The Roger Ebert of whiskey reviewers?
No, because the thing is, well, one, it's hard to find a whiskey, and yes, even bourbon, that is terrible. It's really, really hard. We did a show where we were going to try and taste the worst whiskeys that people had experienced, and we tasted them, and it was like, you know what? None of these are bad. They're all maybe they're not like my favorite whiskey, but there's nothing wrong with them. So I don't think it's going to kill anybody, you know, now. Because I mean, like you come up with a Macallan that's 30 years old and it costs, you know, 15 grand. Guess what? People can buy it.
So I think that's the other thing is like whiskey is it's kind of like I like it because I like it. You know what I mean? Like, but I know
you love it. You fucking love it.
Because I fucking like
I fucking like whiskey.
But there are people who, you know, I think for a lot of people it's just a prestigious drink because it's expensive. You know what I mean? And so and the thing is, like, you can absolutely spend a ton of money buying whiskey. That doesn't mean you're buying good whiskeys. That's the thing, is like you're buying expensive whiskeys, and there's always going to be a market for those, because there's always going to be some dickhole who wants to go like, this is $1,000 a sip, my friend, and it's like, yeah, okay, we're watching you.
It's just like
money,
wine.
But that doesn't mean, you know, it's good.
Just like wine. I mean, I'll get a $2 or $3 chuck. It's, you know, Charles Shaw, and take that to the Hollywood Bowl and think this is the best wine I've ever had. Exactly.
That's pretty good wine.
Yeah.
The thing drives me crazy. I see people on Instagram and they always show bottles that are unopened, and I always go, no, you're just an awful collector person that has this great whiskey. You're never going to taste it, and that's not the point of whiskey. The point of whiskey is opening it and having it with friends.
Well, let me ask you this, because I have never done what we're doing tonight with bourbons. But
don't.
Well, that's what I was going to say, though. I have found that by and large,
we've done it with bourbons. We've had a guest on the show and had a bunch of bourbons, and we loved them.
Okay,
we fucking love even bourbons.
I have yet to find a whiskey that I didn't find something to really enjoy about. Yeah. But I have, the reverse is true with bourbons. I have yet to find a bourbon that I didn't think finished in a way that I found unpleasant. And I'm curious, what is the difference? Because I don't know, I don't have a vocabulary to know what the difference is.
So the biggest difference is that Scotch is made from primarily malted barley. Now, if you get a blended Scotch, it's going to have some grain in there, which will be corn, wheat, rye. It'll be other grains, but mainly malted barley. If you get a single malt, it's malted barley, and that's got a lot of wonderful oils that come out in it. And that's the reason that I kind of tend towards the malted whiskeys. Now, some Americans are making malted whiskeys as well. There's Balcones in Texas, and there's I'm going to say it wrong, Westland up
the
in
one in Oregon. Yeah. West.
And
West,
there's a
westward. Is it westward?
Westward?
Yeah.
I think that's the Australian one. That's why I knew I was going to get it wrong.
Right.
Someone in the chat will figure it out for us. Anyways, but bourbon must be at least 51% corn, and the rest is usually rye. And it'll just vary. And if it gets over 50% rye, then it's called a rye.
Got it.
A rye whiskey. So the reason that I don't like the bourbons is because they're all made with 51% corn, which is a nod to the corn industry in the US. But anyways, it makes it sweeter because corn has a lot of sweetness in it. And they also only use virgin oak casks. So it's only the very first time that cask has ever been used will be to make bourbon, and they can't use it again. And so that's when the Scotch distillers go, oh, we will take those casks, we'll reassemble them and create, second and third fill first, I'm
going to science this.
Okay, yes, I've been blabbing.
No, I figured I might as well.
I drank it all without science.
So did I just realized I never scienced.
Yeah, but you've got more, Andrew.
Yeah, I know. No, once Thad comes and takes half the bottle, it's gonna be sad for me.
Thank you for that explanation, Andrew. That I've never had anybody explain to me before. That's really cool.
So yeah, but like I said, it just depends on the grain you're using. That's really the designation. Now they're all whiskeys. If you use a grain that gets fermented into a low-grade beer that then gets distilled, that's a whiskey.
So far, rice, I like the nose. I feel like the nose with a little bit of science is more accessible, a little more gentle, and some more fun stuff going on in there.
It feels like imagine that you're dating someone and you love their perfume and you're on a date with them. They're sitting next to you. This, with the science, with the extra water, feels like you walk into an elevator by yourself and you can tell they were just in here.
Oh. And your heart breaks a little bit because you like them.
I feel like I'm flying through a sky made of pastry steam that while wearing a magical snuggie.
Oh, those magical snuggies.
This feels like if you take an egg, a brown egg, and you bury it behind a chicken coop. No.
What?
Isn't that for mash?
Is it?
All right, I'm gonna taste it with
I
the
don't know.
science.
Okay.
I don't
Stop
feel
tasting.
like the water.
Start enjoying.
I don't feel like the water really radically changes the nose. It just feels like it sort of takes it from a 10 down to a 7.
I felt the opposite. Like I felt like it opened up the nose, but I'm not really a fan of what it did to the taste. So
yeah,
still,
this
still
was
really
so good.
good.
I finished
not,
it without even thinking about putting water in.
Well,
Anyways,
for me-
here's
for
the
me-
tasting notes.
The reason I said from a 10 down to a 7, I understand that one way to interpret it would be to say accessible, but for me, it feels like it reduces the number of colors from 256 million to 16. It just feels like
and this is the thing that we
16.
come across on the show all the time is like without water, it is spectacular, special, and then you put the water in, it becomes like, oh, this is just like another Scotch that I've had. It's just it's more accessible because it's more ordinary.
there's
Thad, did you put water in, Thad?
I did. I definitely would suggest not doing it, but it's all right. The thing about water, it's always worth trying once, and then sometimes you never do it again.
Right?
And this is one of the times you would never do it again.
And that's why you take notes.
But no, it was overall really good. For me, it mellowed out heavily with the water, which I didn't want with this whiskey. I wanted the punchiness that it had, and the peat kind of died out quite a bit. And I love peat, so I don't want it to go away.
Kind of makes us forget about the embers.
Yeah, and so going off of that, instead of embers, it was more like trees were growing with the water. It was a lot of like more green wood than burning wood.
It changed the name to members remember ... No,
Members apparently don't remember. Members have dementia. So there, I put a sticky note on the bottle so I'll remember to give you a sample. Aromas of eucalyptus and lavender were chucked on peat embers, and the wisping smoke clung to our tweed jackets as we waited for notes of breakfast kippers. I think I'll recall this.
I feel like that one was taking me on a journey, but they got a little too far ahead of me, and now I'm lost in the forest, and they're already gone.
They've left you behind.
Yeah.
I feel like that happens often with the tasting notes of
The scented kippers.
Yeah.
I will say this: so far, I have enjoyed with the water, but I haven't had one improve with the water. How frequently do you find that your palate likes something with a little more water in it than straight?
I will say personally, it's less than 50%. I like it with water, but
Yeah,
there are times where you add the water.
like 3 out of 10. I would say 3 out of 10, probably.
Yeah, that's Hall of Fame numbers. Baseball
Right.
fans out
Yeah,
there.
but we're not batting.
Okay.
But it's just enough so that it's like I want to try the water, but it's not enough so that I'm like honestly, when I put the water in, I'm always like, oh, I feel like I'm playing a bit of Russian roulette with this, Yeah.
Can't go back to what that was without water.
Yeah.
Yeah, I finished that without any water.
The final whiskey.
The final whiskey. So now you would expect a lot of treacle from this. Railway track to a log cabin, 122.34. This is a
interesting.
Highlands, yes. From the same distillery master that runs the previous distillery, runs this distillery as well. So he's got both Glen Scotia and Loch Lomond.
It's funny, the name of this one is like the smell of the last one, like railway track to a log cabin. So now, like smelling it, like I could see how that's a good name for it, but there's no way that it's as much of a railway track to a log cabin as Members Remembers Embers.
Yeah, no, exactly. That was like my first impression of the previous one was the treacle railway track. This is not that.
Yeah.
The last one and this one feel like two absolutely breathtakingly beautiful sisters who are only a year apart in age.
This to me is like the pine forest of the second one we had, but like times 100. Like I'm deep in that pine forest. Like, you know, I'm like hanging out with Treebeard.
Someone is barbecuing an egg.
Barbecuing? Like
Barbecuing
in a
an
shell,
egg, yeah.
on the grill in a shell.
Yeah, or it might be like in one of those like fish traps over the fire, but
I feel like to borrow your word, which is probably a word that I just don't know you use all the time for this sort of thing. This one feels, the nose is more accessible than the previous one. I feel like this one doesn't, like I feel like I could just breathe this one deep in.
right, it doesn't hide itself. Yeah, this is very nose forward.
I'm also getting the smell of like a pool toy or like a gigantic inflatable pool, or a pool that you like a pool that you build. You know what I mean? Like it's that sort of plastic smell.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Or
I get that.
yeah.
Both of this one and the previous one, both, although there is a very strong, I wouldn't want to call it chemical though, because they both feel very organic and natural to me. Like they smell of nature. It's a combination of foresty woodland area, and then also like the peatiness also feels very earthy.
Yeah, I get that peat for sure. Chemicals are organic though, really.
Oh sure, I just mean like I think the connotation when you say chemical is like paint or paint thinner or
I love this. I liked the nose on the previous one, I think better, but I do like this is amazing.
This is I'm going to taste it before I decide.
Oh.
All right, that's where the railway and the cabin are all in the taste, not in the nose.
Right,
they're in the taste. Like this is what like the nose of the previous one, what I would have expected it to taste like.
My favorite whiskey.
It's my favorite whiskey.
This is my favorite. I fucking love whiskey.
Okay, I thought you did. I thought you did, Alan.
I fucking love it. I fucking love whiskey.
I don't know what I fucking love more. Fucking you guys are fucking whiskey.
No, phrase that a little differently.
Wait, I don't. I really love fucking you guys.
What? No, I am still.
Hey,
I'm okay with it.
Don't knock it. Don't knock it.
Oh no, Alan, I didn't mean to ask you this on the show. I fucking love whiskey.
Yeah. Oh yeah, by the way, I fucking love whiskey.
Thought so. That's having trouble keeping up on the score.
Yeah, I'm surprised no one got a negative score for
no,
that.
I probably should have.
A little cheap, but that is the final arbiter.
This is the first one. If there was a little meter down here in the corner of my screen that went from all things are peaceful on my palate to oh no, burning, that's unpleasant. This is the first one that just for a moment tipped into the red, just for a second in the back of my throat, just for a moment.
I find on the second sip though, that burn that I got on the first one is kind of a distant memory now.
I remember I was at a Chinese restaurant with Alan, and he got like a dish with green beans, and one of the beans was actually a pepper. They had a pepper in there. It was a green pepper, so he ate it. And he doesn't do well with spicy things. I thought he was going to die. So this is much better than that.
There are a few people in my life have experienced when I have eaten something too spicy for my palate, like significantly too. I start making noises that are not natural. Well, because it's like something in my system is like does not compute. Get rid. Like where's the exit? And I start making these noises, and yeah. But no, when I say burn, this isn't like a Chinese pepper or salsa burn. This is more like almost like a putting alcohol on a skin knee burn. You know, it's what it's like.
Yeah. Oh, it's like a delicious rug burn.
Have you guys been to my website, Delicious Rug Burns?
I do feel like that.
it.
I'm surprised there isn't already an SMWS called Delicious Rug Burn.
Oh wow! You know those scenes in the movies where somebody who doesn't drinks too much whiskey or a shot of something, and then they cough and they don't. Like, I feel like this is what the writer was thinking of when they wrote that moment for that character.
I feel like this smells like a saloon on the forest moon of Endor, up in the top of a tree, and there's a bunch of like sketchy looking like Wookiees hanging out there, like you know, just really like Wookiee like criminals, or
and
you know,
each one of them is missing something, like that one eye or one leg, of a peg arm, a peg
and they put like this in front of you, like in a wooden shot glass, and they're like, you know,
right.
and you're like, okay,
okay, I'll drink it. Okay.
Yeah, this is like what the guy in the Western, he pulls the cork out, he pours a big amount and pushes it over to you, and then it's just the moment of the test, where is our hero gonna has he found an ally or has he not?
Right, and it's all dependent on whether he flinches when he drinks it or not.
You know, there's that great scene in Jaws when Quint gives the moonshine to Brody and then to Hooper also, and you know, I don't know if you remember that scene. It's when they're first enlisting his aide to go out to catch the shark.
Farewell and adieu, my dear Spanish ladies.
Farewell and adieu to you ladies of Spain. Oh yeah.
What was your point on the Jaws reference? Sorry, did the story conclude?
I'm sorry. Maybe I didn't make it. Was that was another scene where Quint was testing the two guys, like. He was testing, can you tie this knot? Let me look at your hands. Can you drink this without choking on it? You know, so like, it was just one of those scenes.
A little rite of passage sort of thing.
Exactly. Yeah, this I definitely feel like we have, well, you chose a great order for these too, because I feel like we've gone from, like we've matured over the course of each of these. This is a grown adult whiskey for sure. Oh yeah, let me try.
How great you science it, because I'm not.
I'm going to science it. Yeah, I'll take the hit. That rubber pool that you were inflating is still there, but it's maybe sat in the garage for a season. So this is the second year you're dragging it out. You get the garage oily smells in with the plastic of the
a little dust and must.
Interesting. I'm listening.
It's intriguing thus far.
As has been the case, it's definitely more accessible. Although, God, there's still that burn is still there, though, man.
Did you science too, Alan?
Yeah, that burn is definitely still there.
The finish, I actually got a lot less burn with that.
What does Thad say? Before, have you scienced it? And if so, what do you think?
So I did science with y'all. I agree with Andrew. A lot less burn. I like it without water way more. And going back to without water, right off the top or right off the bat, the nose gave me like a fire roasted corn that you put like tahini and like some like European butter on, like slather it on it, like right there. And then like after that, I got some like cashews or rice cakes. I couldn't really place that one. But I also totally get like the barbecued eggs. Like I totally understand where that came from.
You know, because it's kind of sulfury, maybe.
Yeah. And then on the taste, like a lot of smoke, but like grease smoke, like or smoke with grease in it, really. And then once you got past that, there was some vanilla and like bamboo chopsticks for me.
You know, just as you were saying vanilla, I'm getting some vanilla, even in just sort of the finish right now.
Yeah.
Totally.
I mean, it's an ex-bourbon barrel, so you'd expect some vanilla to come through. That's often the flavor you get from bourbon is from first fill oak casks. When they toast it, you get that vanilla flavor coming out.
It surprises me that I'm not a bigger fan of bourbon then, because I love vanilla.
Well,
yeah,
there's
but
like
corn.
There's also like making scotch in bourbon barrels is very different than just like, you know, the bourbon itself. It's like, it's just that cool complex like secondary flavoring, you know, that shows up. Wow, these were a lot of strong drinks today.
Were they? I'm not able to talk.
I think I don't know. I mean, I love those first two. I feel like those first two stepped just enough away. They were exciting because they stepped away from what I typically would have thought were my favorite. But as soon as I tried that number 3, the
Members remember embers.
That Glen Scotia, the members remember embers. I was like, my home planet. This is what
Yep.
they drink on my home planet.
Oh yeah,
do.
the
It was
distillery of
Croftengea.
this last one. What is this? How is this pronounced? This last distillery?
I am going to mangle it. I would say Croftengea, but it,
Because I've not had Croftengea before. And
I don't
where
think
is
I have
where is
either.
it?
it's the
Lomond?
peated version of Loch Lomond Distillery. So it is a highland. It's right around Loch Lomond, which is a gorgeous lake in Scotland. If you've never been, go and then visit Loch Lomond Distillery.
And visit the lake monster.
Yeah.
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 You know, there's nothing that lives in Loch Ness. It is so murky from all the soil that gets washed in. Like fish can't live there. So a sea monster has nothing to eat.
Didn't the guy who actually faked the photo own up to it at some point recently, or was that
On their deathbed? Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was actually. It kind of makes me sad.
That's what they want you to think.
It kind of makes me sad that somebody has owned up to it, because I kind of wish it were like it could continue to be the debate, you know?
Yeah. There's not enough mysteries in the world. We've got to make up some.
Yeah.
Right. Guys, this was so amazing. Thank you so much.
Oh.
Alan, I'm so glad we could have you on the show. I mean, you know, like
Okay.
I've known Alan for full disclosure. I've known Alan for decades. He is one of the original founders of Dad's Garage Theater in Atlanta, Georgia, as like I am. And,
I did not actually know that part.
Yeah, I've known him for like since the mid 90s. So he's a very old friend. And yeah, we have some more Dad's Garage connections.
Stop calling him very old. It's rude.
More Dad's Garage connections this season. So keep watching, as we have some really cool people as well as Alan showing up later. So, but we do have a question for you.
Okay.
Clear your mind.
Okay.
We've had a lot of fun on the show.
Yes.
We've tasted a lot of amazing beverages.
Mm-hmm.
We have opened 4 bottles.
We've tasted 4 bottles.
We've done science on these 4 bottles. And Joseph and I were just wondering,
do you,
Mm-hmm.
after all this,
Alan Simpson,
like whiskey?
No. I fucking love whiskey. Oh my God, you guys, I fucking love whiskey. This was so good. This was so good. Each one of these, I mean, I feel like, it was just, this was a 1-run homer to win a game. This was a 2-run homer in extra innings to win the National League Championship Series. This was a 3-run homer. This was a grand slam in the bottom of the ninth to win the World Series. I mean, this was just amazing. Those were so
I'm so happy. I'm so happy to share this with you. I'm so happy to drink this with you and experience this thing together. It's what makes whiskey great, is the sharing.
Yeah,
drinking with friends.
I feel like I've learned so much tonight too. Like I feel like I've learned more about why I like what I like and how to ask for things. I know that I like the peatiness, but I think I can also describe things in terms of both the nose and then also in terms of the I feel like I could fool a bartender into thinking I know what I'm talking about, which is nice.
I mean, you've experienced something that, you know, unless you actually seek this out, it's hard to do. Right. You know, you have to give yourself a whiskey education.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's accessible, I think, to everybody. Like whiskey, I feel like there's this stigma that it's like this inaccessible beverage, but it's not that expensive, you know. Like there are ways to, you know, to get to it, and I don't know. It's like it's remarkable, right?
Like,
you don't have to have SMWS, but
$90 on this bottle, which is probably a little high compared to stuff you can get out there. But even at $90, like if you bought a $90 bottle of wine, you would drink that same night with all your friends.
Right.
This is going to be with me for a few years, and I'm going to come back to it again and again and again. And so very much worth the investment. Anyway.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We should probably thank Outside In Theater. And if you're not currently a member, please subscribe. Please see all the other fantastic shows that are going on this channel. It's wonderful. Thank you to Thad for doing the amazing tech that makes us look good, and probably the better tasting notes of all of us.
Yeah, I feel like today, like Thad's tasting notes were way like I was just like, it's fire, and Thad was like, it has the essence of delicate charcoal with like he was way better than
Hot roast in an oven that's been turned on for 4 hours. Yeah, he was way better. So thank you, Thad. Thank you. Who else do we have? Other people. Good grief. This is a lot of 60% whiskey, y'all.
Yeah.
It was a good one.
I
fucking love whiskey.
I fucking love whiskey.
I fucking love whiskey.
We will see you next week with Kevin Gilles.
Kevin Gilles.
Gilles? Can't say the name. He's Canadian. I can't say his name. Anyway, so he'll be from Atlanta joining us for whiskey next week. Oh, wait. Kristen's saying, what I love is watching folks recommit their love for whiskey. Yeah. I love whiskey. And I love watching you love whiskey. Should Kristen be on our show?
She should. Yeah.
She should. Okay. All right. Well, you're warned. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thanks for having me, everybody. Bye-bye.